The large meeting room fell silent as Lieutenant Samantha Clark walked in. 50 pairs of alien eyes followed her every move. Some blinked with extra eyelids. Others changed color with emotion. All of them seemed worried about the human in their midst. Samantha kept her face calm, though her heart raced. She was the first human to step foot on Harmonium, the beautiful garden world that served as headquarters for the Galactic Confederation. After decades of searching the stars for other life, humanity had finally made contact 6 months ago. Now, she represented all of Earth in this historic meeting. "Remember, let me do most of the talking," whispered Dr. Alan Green, the xenobiologist walking beside her. His gray beard twitched nervously. "These species have been part of their alliance for thousands of years." "We're the newcomers," Samantha nodded. As a Navy pilot, she was used to following protocol. But nothing in her training had prepared her. For meeting 17 different alien species in one day, they reached the center of the room, where a semicircle of seats held the Confederation Council. The being in the middle stood up. It had pale blue skin that seemed to glow slightly and 4 slender arms. Its large eyes looked kind but cautious. "Lieutenant Clark, Dr. Green, welcome," it said through the translator device. "I am High Counselor. Zexva Ardani, we welcome Earth's representatives." Samantha gave the greeting gesture she had practiced, right hand open at chest level, palm up. "Thank you for having us, High Counselor." "We are honored to be here," Zexva gestured to the seats in front of them. "Please sit." As they settled into chairs designed for beings with different body shapes, Samantha studied the council members. They varied wildly in appearance. Some were tall and willowy, others short and sturdy. One seemed to float above its chair. Another looked like a giant insect with delicate wings. All were watching her with clear interest. "We have reviewed the data about your planet," said Zexva. "It is ... concerning." Dr. Green leaned forward. "Concerning? In what way?" A different alien spoke up. This one had red scales and yellow eyes with vertical pupils. "Your Earth is what we classify as a death world. The gravity is crushing, the temperature swings are extreme. You have countless predators, natural disasters, and harmful microorganisms. And yet," added another counselor with feathers instead of hair, "you not only survived but developed advanced technology." Samantha frowned. Earth had always seemed normal to her. Sure, there were dangers, but nothing that seemed unusual. "The fact that humans evolved on such a planet raises questions," continued Zexva. "Questions about your natural temperament and survival instincts." Dr. Green nodded slowly. "I understand your concerns, but I assure you humans are peaceful. We've had our conflicts, yes, but we've moved beyond them." A small alien with 6 eyes made a sound like bubbling water. The translator rendered it as laughter. "Peace is easy on garden worlds like ours. But species from harsh planets often develop aggressive tendencies. It's simple evolution." Samantha felt a flash of annoyance but kept her face neutral. "With respect, Counselor, humans have many traits beyond aggression. We're curious, creative, and adaptable." "Adaptable, yes," agreed Zexva. "That is what concerns us. Species that can adapt to anything can sometimes be unpredictable." The room grew tense. Samantha glanced at Dr. Green, who looked worried. A new voice spoke up from the end of the council table. "Perhaps we should follow standard procedure." "Oh." Eyes turned to the speaker, a tall being with gray skin and no visible mouth. It seemed to communicate through small movements of the skin on its face. "Ah, yes," said Zexva. "Counselor Cree makes a good point. Lieutenant Clark, Dr. Green, the Confederation has a standard test for species from challenging worlds. A survival assessment to gauge temperament and behavior under stress. Double quotes. Dr. Green nodded eagerly. "Of course, we would be happy to participate in any evaluation you deem necessary." "What kind of test?" Samantha asked directly. Zexva's skin changed to a slightly darker blue. "A group of your people would undergo a controlled survival scenario. Nothing too extreme, I assure you. Just enough to see how humans respond to challenges." One of the other aliens added, "The test will place humans in conditions considered difficult by Confederation standards. We will observe problem-solving methods, cooperation levels, and stress responses. Samantha tried not to smile. If they thought Earth was so harsh, their idea of difficult conditions might be quite mild by human standards. How long would this test last? She asked. 10 standard cycles, replied Zexva. Approximately 2 of your Earth weeks. And what exactly would our people need to do? Dr. Green asked. The red-scaled alien answered, simply survive. Build shelter, find food and water, work together. Nothing more complicated than that. Samantha couldn't help it. She laughed. Then, seeing the alien's confused expressions, she quickly composed herself. I apologize. It's just that what you're describing sounds like a camping trip. Many humans do this for fun on weekends. A ripple of murmurs spread through the room. The council members exchanged glances that even across species seemed to convey surprise and concern. For fun, repeated Zexva slowly. You intentionally place yourselves in survival situations as recreation? Dr. Green shot Samantha a warning look before saying, what Lieutenant Clark means is that humans are quite comfortable with temporary exposure to the elements. But we take your test very seriously and would be honored to participate. Zexva seemed to consider this very well. We will prepare the testing area. In 6 months, we will select a team of 5 humans to undertake the assessment. If I may, said Samantha, I would like to volunteer for this team. The High Counselor's skin pulsed with light. That won't be necessary, Lieutenant. We will make our own selections to ensure a fair assessment. As the meeting continued with discussions of logistics, Samantha noticed the aliens still watching her with newfound curiosity. She had the distinct feeling that their idea of a challenging survival scenario was very different from hers. On the shuttle back to the human embassy, Dr. Green sighed deeply. That went as well as could be expected, I suppose. Samantha looked out the window at the perfect, peaceful landscape of Harmonium. No storms, no predators, no extremes of any kind. They think we're dangerous because we come from Earth. They're cautious, Dr. Green corrected, and with good reason. Their species evolved on gentle worlds. We're probably the first Deathworlders they've encountered. This test will be interesting, she said, smiling slightly. I almost feel bad for them. They have no idea what humans are capable of. Dr. Green gave her a stern look. That's exactly the attitude we need to avoid. This isn't a competition. Samantha, it's a chance to show them we're not the aggressive monsters they fear. She nodded, but couldn't help thinking that what the Confederation considered a harsh survival test, most humans would consider just another Tuesday. 6 months passed quickly. Word spread throughout Earth about the Confederation's survival test. Thousands of humans volunteered, eager to represent their planet in this strange challenge. After careful screening, the Confederation selected 5 individuals they believed would represent an average human response. Captain Daniel Wright stood at attention as the transport ship docked at Harmonium's orbital station. At 34, he had spent 12 years in the Marines before becoming a wilderness survival instructor. His short brown hair and steady gaze gave him a serious appearance, but those who knew him appreciated his dry sense of humor. Nervous? Asked Dr. Lisa Ortiz beside him. The botanist specialized in plants that thrived in extreme environments. Her research had taken her from scorching deserts to frozen tundras. Daniel shook his head. More curious than nervous. I keep wondering what these aliens consider a survival challenge. Lisa smiled. Whatever it is, we'll handle it. That's why they picked us, right? The rest of their team joined them at the viewing window. Kevin Patel, an engineer with a talent for building useful things from almost nothing. Nicole Bradley, former police officer and security specialist with medical training. And Benjamin Carter, communications expert and linguist who had learned 3 alien languages in the short time since first contact. Look at that, Benjamin said, pointing at the planet below. No storms, perfect climate control, not a dangerous animal in sight. No wonder they think Earth is terrifying. Nicole crossed her arms. I still don't understand why they need this test. Humans have been exploring space for decades without causing problems. It's not about what we've done, Kevin explained. It's about what they think we might do because of where we evolved. They believe Deathworlders are naturally aggressive. A soft chime indicated the arrival of their alien escort. The door slid open to reveal a tall, gray-skinned being with no visible mouth. "Greetings, humans," it communicated through its translator. "I am Zorlek of the Talgari. I will be administering your assessment." Daniel stepped forward. "Captain Daniel Wright. We're ready to begin whenever you are." Zorlek's skin rippled. In a way that might have been surprise. "No questions? No concerns about the dangerous conditions you will face?" "We were told it's a survival scenario," Lisa said. 2 weeks in an outdoor environment. Is there more we should know?" The alien's translator hesitated before conveying its response. "You will be briefed fully before the test begins. Please follow me." They boarded a smaller shuttle that took them down to the planet's surface. Through the windows they saw the perfect, controlled beauty of Harmonium, carefully tended gardens, elegant structures and beings from many different species moving. About peacefully, the shuttle flew beyond the main city to a massive domed structure in the distance. As they approached, Daniel realized just how large it was, at least 10 kilometers across. "What is that?" Kevin asked, professional interest clear in his voice. "The testing facility," Zorlek replied. "We can simulate various environments inside. For your assessment, we have created conditions that will test your limits." Nicole and Benjamin exchanged glances. Daniel noticed the concern in Zorlek's tone and wondered again what these aliens considered challenging. The shuttle landed at an entrance to the dome. As they exited, they were met by a delegation of various alien species. Many held recording devices or viewing screens. Daniel realized they were being observed like specimens in a zoo. A blue-skinned alien with 4 arms approached them. "Welcome, humans. I am High Counselor Zexva. Your assessment has generated great interest among the Confederation." "Seems like you're expecting quite a show," Daniel remarked. Zexva's skin pulsed slightly. "This is the first time we have tested a species from a world as extreme as Earth. Many are curious to see how you will respond." They were led through a series of chambers where alien technicians checked their vital signs and provided them with basic supplies, water containers, simple tools and communication devices to call for emergency extraction. "These will allow us to monitor your condition," explained a small, 6-eyed alien as it attached sensor patches to their skin. "If any of you experience life-threatening distress, we can extract you immediately." "What exactly will we be facing?" "In there?" Lisa asked. Zorlaka's skin darkened. "Temperature variations between 10 and 40 of your Celsius degrees. Periods of rainfall, uneven terrain with forests and hills, some small insects and simple plant life." The human team looked at each other in confusion. "That's it?" Kevin asked. "That sounds like a pleasant spring day in most parts of Earth." Zorlak seemed disturbed by this response. "The conditions are more severe than any Confederation species would willingly endure outside of emergency situations. We have added some challenges to make the test meaningful." "What kind of challenges?" Nicole asked. "You will have limited food supplies. You must find water sources. There may be simulated weather events. Your objectives will be explained once you are inside." Daniel nodded. "Sounds straightforward enough." They were led to a final chamber with a large door at the end. Here they were given backpacks with minimal supplies, a small amount of food, empty water containers, a basic cutting tool, fire starter, and thin sleeping mats. "This is all you get?" Benjamin asked, looking through his pack. "It is more than most species would have in a survival situation," Zexva explained. "Is it insufficient?" Daniel shouldered his pack. "We'll make do." Zorlek approached them one last time. "Remember, this is not a competition. It is an assessment of how humans respond to challenging conditions. There is no shame in requesting extraction if the situation becomes too difficult." The 5 humans stood before the large door as dozens of alien observers watched from viewing areas above. "We're ready," Daniel said. The door slid open to reveal a forest environment. Sunlight filtered through leaves. Birds called in the distance. A gentle breeze carried the scent of plants and soil. "Good luck," Zorlik said, genuine concern in its translated voice. "The test begins now?" The humans walked through the door, which closed behind them. They stood for a moment, taking in their surroundings. "This is their idea of extreme conditions?" Nicole asked, looking around at what appeared to be a perfectly pleasant forest. Daniel smiled slightly. "Remember, we're supposed to be struggling to survive here." "Try to look concerned," Kevin laughed. "Should I start panicking about the gentle breeze or wait until we see a squirrel?" Lisa was already examining the plants nearby. "These are similar to Earth species. Some appear edible." "Let's set up a base camp," Daniel suggested. "Find water, food, and build shelter. Show them how humans handle Tuesday." As they moved deeper into the forest, cameras hidden in trees and rocks tracked their every move. In a control room, alien observers watched with growing interest as the humans showed no signs of distress, only methodical organization and calm assessment of their environment. "Fascinating," murmured Zexva. "They truly don't see this as dangerous at all." Zorlak's skin rippled with concern. "Perhaps we should increase the difficulty." "Not yet," Zexva replied. "Let's see what they do when night falls and the temperature drops." In the forest, the humans were already gathering materials for shelter, finding water sources and identifying edible plants. They worked efficiently, occasionally joking about the harsh conditions they faced. None of them noticed the dozens of alien species, placing bets on how long they would survive before calling for extraction. The most optimistic gave them 3 days. By the end of the first day, the human team had accomplished more than the alien observers thought possible. Daniel had organized them efficiently, assigning tasks based on their skills. Kevin and Nicole had built a sturdy shelter using fallen branches, leaves, and vines. It wasn't pretty, but it would keep them dry and retain heat. Lisa had identified 7 different edible plants and 2 types of berries that were safe to eat. Benjamin had set up a system to collect rainwater using large leaves and the containers from their packs. As evening approached, Daniel returned from exploring with good news. "There's a stream about half a mile west," he reported. "Clear water, looks clean, and I saw tracks from small animals. We can set traps tomorrow." The aliens watching from their control room were surprised by the humans' progress. Most species in this test struggled just to find water on the first day. "They show no signs of stress," noted Zorlak, studying the vital signs displayed on the monitors. "Heart rates and hormone levels are all within their normal ranges." Zexva leaned forward, fascinated. "They're treating this like a routine activity, not a survival situation." "Should we activate the first challenge?" asked another observer. Zexva nodded. "Yes. Let's see how they handle adverse weather conditions." Inside the dome, the sky began to darken unnaturally fast. The human team noticed the change immediately. "Looks like rain coming," said Kevin, glancing up. "Good thing we finished the shelter." Within minutes, a heavy downpour began. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and the wind picked up speed. The humans simply moved inside their shelter, which held up well against the sudden storm. "Do you think this is natural or part of their test?" Lisa asked as they sat in a circle, listening to the rain pounding above them. Daniel shrugged. "Probably part of the test. The timing is too convenient. Is this supposed to scare us?" Nicole wondered. "It's just rain." Benjamin was using a stick to draw on the dirt floor of their shelter. "Remember, most Confederation species evolved on worlds with very stable climates. To them, this might be extreme weather." In the control room, the aliens watched with growing disbelief as the humans casually dealt with what the Confederation considered dangerous conditions. "They're just sitting there," said a feathered observer, "talking as if nothing unusual is happening." "Increase the intensity," ordered Zorlak. More wind, louder thunder. The storm outside grew stronger. Wind howled through the trees, lightning flashed, followed by booming thunder. Inside the shelter, the humans noticed the change but remained calm. They're definitely testing us now, said Kevin with a laugh. Should I pretend to be scared? Lisa rolled her eyes. Just be natural. We're supposed to show them how humans really respond. Daniel nodded. Exactly. Let's use this time to plan tomorrow's activities. We need to build a more permanent shelter, set traps for food, and explore more of the area. As the humans calmly planned their next steps during the storm, the aliens watching them were becoming increasingly confused. I don't understand, said a small, six-eyed observer. Their shelter could collapse at any moment. Why aren't they afraid? Because to them this isn't dangerous, replied Zexva thoughtfully. Look at their planet's weather patterns. They regularly experience storms many times more severe than this. The storm continued for hours, but eventually subsided. By morning, the ground was wet and some branches had fallen, but the humans' shelter had survived with only minor damage. Day 2 began with the team expanding their camp. Kevin designed a larger, more permanent shelter while the others gathered materials. Lisa collected more edible plants and started a small garden near the camp. Nicole and Benjamin set simple traps for small animals and explored further from the base dot in the afternoon. The monitoring systems alerted the alien observers to a potential problem. The female named Nicole has injured herself, reported a technician. The view screens showed Nicole returning to camp with a small cut on her arm from a sharp branch. The aliens watched anxiously, expecting distress. Instead, they saw Lisa calmly clean the wound with water, apply some crushed leaves with medicinal properties, and wrap it with a strip of cloth from her own clothing. You're lucky it's not deep, Lisa told Nicole. These leaves have natural antiseptic properties. Thanks, Doc, Nicole replied with a smile, then went right back to work. The aliens were stunned by this casual response to injury. They have no proper medical equipment, said one observer. Yet they treat wounds as if they are nothing. Zexva was beginning to understand. On their world, minor injuries must be common. They've evolved to handle them without advanced technology. By the end of day 3, the human team had created a surprisingly comfortable camp. They had a larger shelter with separate sleeping areas, a fire pit with stones arranged to reflect heat, storage for the food they gathered, and even crude seats made from logs. In the control room, tension was building among the observers. The test was designed to push subjects to their limits, yet the humans showed no signs of strain. This is unprecedented, said Zorlak. No species has ever reached day 3 without showing significant stress markers. Perhaps we need to introduce a real challenge, suggested an observer from a predator species. Something that will truly test their survival instincts. Zexva considered this. Very well. Prepare the predator simulation for tomorrow. The next morning, as Daniel and Kevin were reinforcing the shelter, a low growl came from the nearby bush. The humans froze, then slowly turned toward the sound. From the undergrowth emerged a creature about the size of a large wolf, with mottled gray fur and sharp teeth. It was a simulation, of course, but designed to trigger fear responses. Nobody makes sudden movements, Daniel said quietly. Back toward the shelter slowly. The simulated predator growled again and took a step forward. In the control room. The aliens expected panic, perhaps screaming or running. Instead, they watched in amazement as the humans calmly assessed the threat. Kevin, get that spear we made, Daniel said evenly. Nicole, circle around to the right. Lisa and Benjamin, get to the shelter. The humans moved with coordinated precision. When the creature lunged, they were ready. Kevin thrust the crude spear forward while Nicole distracted it from the side. The predator, programmed to retreat if met with effective resistance, backed away and disappeared into the forest. Well, that was interesting, said Daniel, lowering his makeshift weapon. Guess they decided to make things more exciting. Do you think it will come back? Asked Benjamin. Probably, Daniel replied. We should prepare better defenses and weapons. Just in case. In the observation room, the aliens were silent, processing what they had just witnessed. They didn't panic, said Zorlak finally. They organized and defended themselves as a unit. Like they've faced predators before, added another observer. Zexva nodded slowly. Because they have. Their world is filled with dangerous creatures. What terrifies us is simply Tuesday for them. By the 7th day of the test, the human team had not only adapted to their environment but had begun to thrive in it. Their camp now featured a sturdy main shelter, a separate food storage area, a cooking pit, and even a small smoker Kevin had built to preserve meat from the animals they caught. The aliens monitoring the test were no longer just surprised, they were completely fascinated. The observation room had become crowded as word spread throughout the Confederation about the unusual Deathworlders who treated survival challenges as minor inconveniences. "They've created a functional village in 1 week," remarked a new observer, a diplomat from a gas giant species who floated in a special containment suit, with just basic tools and natural materials. Zorlak's skin rippled with what might have been frustration. "We've introduced every standard challenge. Storms, temperature shifts, limited resources, simulated predators. Nothing seems to stress them significantly." Zexva studied the monitors showing the humans going about their daily activities. Lisa was tending to a small garden of transplanted, edible plants. Benjamin was working on a map of the area drawn on a flat piece of bark. Nicole and Kevin were setting more elaborate traps for the simulated predator that had returned several times. "What are they doing now?" asked Zexva, noticing Daniel working on something near the fire. A technician adjusted the view. "He appears to be carving wood into small figures." "They've reached the recreation stage," said an astonished observer. "They have so much excess time and energy that they're creating art." In the testing environment, Daniel was indeed carving small animal figures from wood. The team had settled into a comfortable routine. Their basic needs were met so efficiently that they now had time for other activities. "I'm thinking of building a chess set," Daniel said, as the others gathered around the fire for the evening meal. "Anyone interested in playing?" "I haven't played chess in years," said Nicole, examining a piece of cooked meat before taking a bite. "But I'm willing to learn again." "We could also use some music," added Benjamin. "I might try to make a simple drum or flute." Lisa looked up from where she was sorting seeds. "You know what's funny? If they told us this was a vacation instead of a survival test, we'd probably be enjoying it even more." Kevin laughed. "Speak for yourself. I'm having a great time. It's nice to be away from emails and meetings for a while." In the observation room, the aliens listened to this conversation with growing disbelief. "They're treating this as a recreational activity," said Zorlak. "The test has completely failed to challenge them." "No," corrected Zexva thoughtfully. "The test hasn't failed. It has revealed something important about humans. Their baseline for danger and hardship is simply much higher than ours." A message came through from the Confederation Council. After reviewing the data from the first week, they had decided to significantly increase the difficulty of the test. The humans' vital signs and behavior showed they were nowhere near their stress limits. "We are authorized to implement extreme weather protocols," Zorlak announced. "The temperature will drop to near freezing tonight." The other observers looked concerned. Such cold was considered life-threatening to most Confederation species without special equipment. That evening, as the humans sat around their fire, a technician's voice came through their communication devices for the first time since the test began. "Attention human test subjects. Be advised that temperatures will drop significantly overnight. If conditions become too difficult, you may request extraction." The humans exchanged glances. "Define significantly?" Daniel asked. "Approximately 0 degrees Celsius, came the reply. Kevin raised his eyebrows. "That's it? Just freezing?" There was a pause before the technician responded, confusion evident in their voice. "This is considered a severe survival challenge." Daniel looked around at his team, then back at the communication device. "Understood, we'll manage." When the connection closed, Nicole chuckled. "They really don't know much about Earth, do they? 0 degrees would be a mild winter day back home." "We should prepare, though," said Lisa practically. "Build up the fire, insulate the shelter better." "I'll gather more firewood," Benjamin offered, standing up. I'll help, said Nicole, joining. Kevin was already examining their shelter. We can add another layer of insulation with those large leaves. And if we heat some stones in the fire, we can bring them inside for radiant heat through the night. As they worked to prepare for the cold, Daniel paused and looked upward, knowing they were being observed. Hey, he called out to no one in particular. Anyone bring marshmallows? This would be perfect for s'mores. In the observation room, the aliens had to consult their databases to understand the reference. Marshmallows? S'mores? Repeated a confused Zorluk. Earth foods, explained a cultural specialist. They heat sweet confections over fire as a recreational activity during cold weather. They have special foods just for enjoying cold temperatures? Asked an incredulous observer. Apparently, said Zexva, what we consider survival conditions, they consider an opportunity for special treats. That night, as the temperature dropped, the humans gathered in their well-insulated shelter. They had built up a large fire outside with hot stones placed strategically inside their shelter. Wrapped in layers of woven plant fibers and leaves, they shared stories and even sang songs before sleeping comfortably through the cold night. The next morning, the aliens were astounded to find all 5 humans not just alive but well-rested. And in good spirits. They emerged from their shelter to find frost on the ground and their breath visible in the air. Beautiful morning, commented Lisa, stretching in the cold air. Reminds me of fall camping trips. A genuine emergency occurred. On the 9th day, the test administrators had not planned it, but a malfunction in the environmental controls caused a section of unstable ground to collapse. Creating a small landslide near where Benjamin and Kevin were exploring, alarms blared in the control room as technicians scrambled to fix the malfunction. Zexva and Zorluk watched anxiously as Benjamin was partially buried by loose dirt and rocks. We need to extract them immediately, said a technician, reaching for the emergency controls. Wait, said Zexva, pointing at the screen. Look. Before the extraction team could be deployed, the humans had already sprung into action. Daniel and Nicole, who were nearby, ran to the scene. With calm efficiency, they carefully removed the debris trapping Benjamin while Kevin stabilized the remaining loose earth to prevent further slides. Within minutes, they had freed Benjamin, who had suffered only minor injuries. Lisa quickly assessed him, cleaning cuts and checking for broken bones. Nothing serious, she reported. Some bruises and cuts, but no fractures. The aliens watched in amazement as the humans treated the emergency as a routine incident. They helped Benjamin back to camp, cleaned his wounds with water they had boiled and herbs Lisa had identified as antiseptic, and had him rest while they continued their daily activities. In the control room, silence reigned. They handled a life-threatening emergency without any outside help, said Zorluk finally. No panic, no chaos, just ... efficient action. High Counselor Zexva, called an aide. The full council is requesting your presence. They've been monitoring the test and wish to discuss the implications. Zexva nodded slowly, eyes still on the screens showing the humans going calmly about their business after what the Confederation would consider a major disaster. I believe, said Zexva, we have seriously underestimated these Deathworlders, and perhaps that is a good thing. On the final day of the test, the human team was notified that their assessment was complete. A transport would arrive to pick them up in 2 hours. Rather than celebrating immediately, they set about cleaning their camp. We should leave it better than we found it, Daniel said, and the others agreed without question. They dismantled structures that weren't made of natural materials, scattered the ashes from their fire pit and covered it with soil, and even replanted areas where they had gathered too many resources. The aliens observing this behavior were puzzled. Why are they restoring the environment? Asked a new observer who had joined the crowded room. The entire area will be reset once they leave. It appears to be a cultural practice, explained Zorluk. According to our data, many human wilderness traditions include leaving minimal impact on natural areas. Zexva had returned from the council meeting with a new perspective. Everything they've done reveals something important about their species. They don't just survive in harsh environments, they respect them. When the transport arrived, the humans gathered their few personal items and took one last look at the camp that had been their home for 10 days. It wasn't as challenging as I expected, said Kevin, but it was interesting. I wonder what the aliens think of us now, Lisa mused as they boarded the transport. Guess we'll find out soon, replied Daniel. The transport took them to a large meeting hall in the Confederation headquarters. To their surprise, it was filled with representatives from dozens of alien species. As they entered, a murmur spread through the crowd. High Counselor Zexva met them at the entrance. Captain Wright, Dr. Ortiz, Engineer Patel, Specialist Bradley. Officer Carter, welcome. The Confederation Council wishes to speak with you about your assessment. The humans were led to a central platform where the full council sat in a semicircle. Many were species they hadn't seen before. All eyes were on them, with expressions ranging from curiosity to what might have been respect. Humans of Earth, began Zexva formally. Your performance in the survival assessment has been ... enlightening, Daniel stepped forward. We hope we've demonstrated that humans can adapt to various conditions without resorting to aggression or panic. A ripple of what might have been laughter moved through the council. Captain Wright, said a feathered council member, what you demonstrated goes far beyond that. You treated conditions that would be life-threatening emergencies to most Confederation species as minor inconveniences. The assessment was designed to push subjects to their limits, added another counselor. Yet you never approached yours. In fact, you created art and games during your supposed survival situation. The humans exchanged glances, not sure if this was good or bad, Zexva continued. When we designed this test, we expected to learn about human stress responses and survival instincts. Instead, we learned something much more valuable, that humans have an extraordinary capacity for adaptation. Is that ... asked Benjamin cautiously. It is remarkable, replied Zexva. The Confederation has existed for thousands of years, by carefully expanding into gentle environments similar to our homeworlds. But there are countless planets we cannot explore or utilize because conditions are too extreme for our species. Kevin nodded in understanding, but not for humans. Precisely, said a new voice. All heads turned as a door opened and Lieutenant Samantha Clark entered with Dr. Alan Green. Samantha looked pleased, while Dr. Green appeared slightly nervous but excited. Lieutenant Clark has been explaining Earth's diverse environments to us, continued Zexva. Your planet contains frozen wastelands, scorching deserts, dense jungles, and vast oceans, all on a single world. And humans have not just survived, but built civilizations in all these conditions. That's just how Earth is, said Nicole with a shrug. We adapt, and that, said Zexva, is why the Council has voted unanimously on two matters. First, Earth is officially invited to join the Galactic Confederation. Cheers erupted from the human team, with Dr. Green looking particularly relieved. Second, continued Zexva when the noise settled, we wish to propose a special role for humans within the Confederation. The room grew quiet again. What kind of role? Asked Daniel. Exploration partners, replied Zexva. There are worlds with resources valuable to the Confederation that our species cannot safely access. Planets with extreme temperature variations, high gravity, intense weather patterns, or dangerous wildlife conditions that humans appear uniquely suited to handle. Samantha stepped forward. You want humans to be your wilderness guides for the galaxy? In simple terms, yes, confirmed Zexva. Your species could help us access and understand worlds we've had to avoid. In return, we offer advanced technology and the collective knowledge of 17 spacefaring civilizations. The humans looked at each other, processing this unexpected offer. So, instead of seeing us as dangerous because we come from a harsh world, you now see us as valuable for the same reason? Lisa asked. Exactly, said Zexva. What we initially feared as a potential threat, we now recognize as a remarkable strength. Your test showed us that Deathworlders don't think danger is dangerous to you. It's just Tuesday, Daniel smiled. Well, when you put it that way, it sounds like a fair partnership. 3 months later, Samantha Clark stood on the bridge of the Confederation exploration vessel Horizon. As the newly appointed human commander of the joint human-alien expedition, she was reviewing mission plans with her diverse crew. A nervous Ardani science officer approached her. "Commander Clark, I've been studying the data on our first destination. Planet. The gravity is 1.3 times Earth normal, with temperature swings of 50 degrees Celsius between day and night and possible toxic atmospheric components." Samantha nodded calmly. "Sounds interesting. Any unique features we should prepare for?" The Ardani's skin pulsed with anxiety. "Commander, these conditions are potentially lethal." "How can you be so calm?" She smiled, remembering the survival test. That had changed the Confederation's view of humans forever. "Because for humans, this is just another Tuesday. Don't worry, we'll keep you safe." As the ship prepared to jump to its destination, Samantha looked at the human members of her crew, all selected for their adaptability and specialized skills. They would be the Pathfinders, the guides who would help their alien colleagues explore worlds they could never have accessed alone. The Confederation had feared Deathworlders for centuries. Now they were counting on them. Because sometimes the very traits that make a species dangerous are exactly what make them invaluable allies. When facing the unknown dangers of a vast and varied galaxy, and humans were very good at facing danger with a shrug and a plan.